Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Bernard Fields. I am your multimedia designer, and today we are going to be jumping into creating what I like to call live flyers. Now, what are live flyers, you may ask? Live flyers are, I guess you could say they're like videos. Sometimes they're GIFs, but the most time they're just videos of a flyer that's created, and it looks like a flyer, and then things start to move. Like you may even have some sound that may pop up, but yeah, it's like a poster slash movie, like almost kind of like your 101 class to motion graphic design slash video. That's the best way I can explain it. But you guys will get to see that process happen right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a flyer slash magazine, and I'm going to fast forward through part of this so you guys won't be bored. But that's for the editing, so you guys kind of understand, like, what is he talking about? Because it's kind of live, but I'm going to take this live recording and I'm going to edit it down so you guys can see the main course, because we all know how to design flyers, I'm sure. And if not, then go ahead and YouTube how to design a flyer in Photoshop. But that's the first place you're going to start. You're going to start here in Photoshop. So I already went to Google and I copied an image, and now I'm just going to hit Command N here in Photoshop, and it's going to create a new file. So I'll just call this live flyer, and those are my dimensions. Now let me talk about the dimensions real quick. A lot of times when you're doing a video, your video dimensions are 720 by 1280, and that's like your standard high definition for like YouTube videos. But then there's one that's higher than that, and that's like called your true HD, and that is your 1280 by 1920, and that's for people who are viewing movies like on their cell phones or on their television. Like the ratio is typically in that portion ratio. But what you may see, like on Instagram, people are creating videos for Instagram, live flyers for Instagram, and the dimensions are just anything that's square, 500 by 500. That's kind of like your typical resolution for Instagram. Here, we're just going based off of the dimensions of the picture. And it could really be any dimension that you have set up. And here we have it 800 by 1200. Okay, and you just hit OK, it's fine. And then we're going to hit Command V, and there we have it, voila. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create the flyer. We're not going to worry too much about the animation part, just for beginners. We're just going to worry strictly about making this flyer look dope, or this magazine. That's what I'm going to call this one. This looks to be like the dimensions for a magazine. It looks like he's posing for a magazine, so that's what it's going to be. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut him out, and we're going to use our selection wand here. And really, I should be using my my Wacom or Wacom. I don't know how you pronounce that. My Wacom tablet, so I can have more control. But I've been doing design work without a tablet for so long, to where it's like, it's not even a problem or issue. I'm using a simple trackpad. That's all I'm using, it's just a trackpad. So we're selecting and we're cutting him out from the background. And you guys will kind of understand the reason why I'm doing that here in just a second. So you make sure that you're going over just the artist here. And if you're wondering, like, well, who is this artist? You just picked out some random guy. No, this is Lecrae. He's like the CEO of 116 hip hop group. All right. Anyways, we're going to hit Command C for copy, and then we're going to hold Shift Command V. Now, the reason why I held down Shift Command V is because it copies it. Well, no, it pastes it in place. All right. So as you can see here, he is now cut out of that background, and that's cool. And another thing that you want to do too is you definitely want to get into the habit of naming your layers. And this is very important, because if you don't name your layers, and you go through this whole process of just adding a filter here or an element there, and you just have all these layers. Let's say you wind up with like 20 something layers, and then you're getting ready to bring it into Premiere Pro. You're going to be completely lost. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what this layer is. And you got to go back and rename it. And it's just way too much work. So it's better for you to go ahead and to label as you're going. So we're going to call this one the background, or BKGD, for those who like to get all fancy with that, with the acronyms. And another thing too, for those who are using Photoshop, there's the thing that's called image assets, and you can generate image assets. So as you're designing these layers, if you type in the end of it, the file name .jpg, JPEG, I almost forget what that was called, because I'm just so used to just being an autopilot, just moving. But it's kind of like I gotta teach you guys what's going on at the same time. So just bear with me. But anyway, I'm going to save this first before I turn on my image assets. So I'm gonna save this. I like to stay organized, as you can see. So I have a folder here. I'll just put it in my DVA folder. I'll create a new folder. It's called tutorials. Then I'll create another folder under that called live flyers. Guys, it's so important to stay organized, because if you don't stay organized, you are going to pull your hair out. Like, one thing I can't stand is seeing a person who has a designer who has like all their stuff just on their desktop, and it's like not even organized. I'm like, how do you know where stuff is at? Like, that doesn't even like register in my mind. Like, it doesn't make sense. Okay, anyway, here we have generate up underneath file. You go to generate, and you go to image assets, and voila, you just turned it on. And I will show you what happens when you do that. Okay, is that I'm gonna go to that folder. Let's see where I have it at in my storage. Random art. Bear with me for a second. Just got finished doing all that talking about. Oh yeah, you gotta make sure you stay organized. But I'm working on my Mac Pro, which is a little bit different from my MacBook, and I'm having a new organization system kind of set up. So again, just bear with me. I'll just call live flyer. There we go. Now, here is my file right here, the live flyer PSD. When I turn on the image assets right up above, automatically it's creating the JPEG image. That's that layer, JPEG. All right, so that's a little side note, a little lesson learned there. Now here's the other thing. I can call this right here Lecrae. Lecrae 01. or no, I just call it Lecrae background. All right. And then we're going to label this PNG because we need this to be transparent. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because we're going to create the live flyer in Photoshop first for all those people who only feel comfortable working in Photoshop. All right. And so there I went ahead and I put in the .png, and I go back to my Finder, and voila, there it is, my .png background, and it's automatically cut out. Like, how dope is that? As you can see right there in the background, you can see that you can look right through the image, right past them. So like, that's very, very helpful when it comes to creating your layers, as far as when you want to export, instead of going Shift Option Command S and then having to create you know, all of your PNGs and your JPEGs. This is just way easier. So if you don't have the new Photoshop, the CC 2014, this is another reason to get that updated Photoshop. Okay, it'll just make your design world a lot easier. You move a lot faster. Okay, so anyways, I already kind of have an idea of what I want. So typically when you have a magazine cover, you typically have like the words kind of go behind the person's hat to some degree, in which that's what we'll go ahead and we'll do. So I'm just going to go to my fonts, and we're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to use no impact impact. Stay away from impact if if you can. Stay away from impact. That's like the devil of design. All right. It's like Helvetica. It's like the new Helvetica. All right. So I'm using Lato Bold, just something real quick. And let's call this magazine. Gosh, it has to be something short. Like, I'll call it Dope. And that's probably not a good title to call this magazine. I mean, taking into consideration, if you know who Lecrae is, you'd probably be like, dude, why would you call that dope? Like, you don't want that to be dope. And it's like DE right now, which is probably like a bad idea to have it go behind the hat. But for people who know like certain magazines, it's like you automatically kind of feel like, oh yeah, I know exactly what magazine that is. Okay. And that's, you know, for the sake of going ahead and just doing this thing, let's just go ahead and stretch out the magazine. Let's make it our own freaking dimensions. You know what I'm saying? So we're just going to pull this up a little bit. I clicked on the, what do you call it? Your crop tool. This crop tool is, people automatically think you're going to go in. No, you can expand. So it's almost like a crop/expand tool. All right, now you got all this space up here, and you're probably like wondering, like, man, well, what in the heck? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you gonna be able to fix that? Easy. All you gotta do is just copy a little bit of the top here. You're going to paste it in place. Then you're going to hit Command T. You're going to transform it. And it's just real sloppy, but hey, who cares, right? All right. And then we're going to blend it just a little bit, or just blur it. I say blur it. Blur. Gaussian blur. No, we're going to do surface blur. So you can get rid of all that, what do you call it? Noise. This is like a really, like I said, this is like a cheap way to kind of fix problems real quick. Let's see, get my threshold just right. All right, and voila. Now, if I wanted to, and just for the sake of just testing out, because we're designers, right? That's what we do as designers. We design. I'm going to pull this all the way down. And as you can see, it really does, it works. It fixes our problem, or our issue. Okay, and then I may even go ahead and hit the surface blur again, or hit Command F. all right, until it looks right. And then bam, there you have it. Okay, so it looks as if like we really didn't even have that problem at all. Okay, and we'll just call this one. I have Lecrae background. Not Lecrae background, but I have the background right here. I'm going to change that. I'm going to turn that off. Where it says background JPEG, I'm going to make this one the background. So I'm going to put this to say BK GD. Dang, I made a mistake. I put BG on the other one. Crap, I must be dumb as heck. All right, and then JPEG. All right, this one right here, I'm just going to call this blank or original. Yeah, we're going to call that original. Now I got to go back up to my background and I got to hit Command T to make sure that it covers up the whole thing. Just so for the sake of any type of problems in the future, we don't want to have that. All right. So again, I can go back to my desktop and as you can see, automatically, as I'm designing my background, bam, it's already like fixed. The JPEG image is already fixed. And that's the beauty of the dynamic feature and the engine that's within Adobe across the board. It's like hands down the best system for designing. Anyway, getting back to this whole thing of the title, dope. All right, we're going to move dope up some. All right, cool. So now we get the title. All right. Now we need to know who is this guy? This guy's name is Lecrae, right? So let's go ahead and let's give Lecrae a little bit of a titleage here. Lecrae. Okay. And for the sake of, like I said, I'm not trying to like put a lot of time in designing this thing. You know, I'm just simply just trying to give you guys the basics of how this thing works. And if you're wondering what this pink line is, it's a beautiful thing. It's like the automatic snap guide for like your images. Like you can, it automatically like tell you where if it's centered up, like your left side of Lecrae is at the center, or if it's center, or if it's like right of center. But anyways, just saying, like, you know, if this is just beautiful, beautiful stuff. Anyways, all right, so we have Lecrae here, and I'm going to give him a drop shadow. All right, this is probably a no-no, but we're going to do it anyway. All right, so we got the drop shadow on there, and let's see here. What else can we say about Lecrae? We can say that he's super dope. Super dope single. Yeah, we'll say that. Super dope single. And a lot of times, laying that right there. And we'll change the color to, let's say, that doesn't work. Let's go with maybe a blue. And we could probably stroke it. And that's probably like another no-no. But again, it's like I really don't care at this point because I'm just really just trying to come up with something, you know, quick while I'm doing this in front of you guys. Say we stroke it white. Stroke it. Ow! All right. Okay, that's cool. And we can then we can come up with the single. We'll put the single title down here at the bottom. We'll call it I don't know. Let's call it flyer then. How about that? Call it flyer then. Yeah, that's hot. Psych. It ain't hot. All right, and then for this color, we'll just go, I don't know, let's go with that green right there from this hat. That's the thing about picking out colors, making sure that everything looks dope as far as like the colors and stuff. It's picking colors out of the image itself. All right, so I'm getting ready to blow this up, make this bigger. All right, and center that up. I'm gonna make this a little bit bolder. I'm gonna make that color. You know what? And that color, it just doesn't work for me. And I think I might pull a little bit of this pink that is pulled out of his shirt. See how that works. That's nice. That's okay. And I think I'm gonna go back to the dope layer and I'm gonna make that green. Yeah, that'll work. That will work. Okay? For right now. Okay, so now I'm going back to where it says flyer then, and I gotta put some quotes around that because it is a title. Oops. Now I'm gonna just start moving, you know. I mean, you guys pretty much kind of get the idea at this point. And you know what? I'm gonna do another design no-no just for the heck of it. Put another stroke around flyer then. All right. So you guys kind of get the idea. And the reason why I'm doing these design no-nos is because I'm going to show you guys something in the timeline, which we'll get to that in just a second. In the timeline, there's an option where you can actually mess with and animate these effects, which is kind of dope. All right. And let's see, let's add some bling on this plastic cross here. Like plastic crosses, they don't bling, but here we're gonna make the suckers bling, and it's gonna look so bad. It's not gonna make any sense. Okay, so I'm going to get my my marquee tool, and I'm going to put a little circle here, create a new layer, and I'm going to fill it with white. All right. Now this is another thing that I do is that I'll go ahead and I'll click and make, let me see, I'm gonna call this my white blur. What I'll do is I'll make these into smart objects so I can manipulate them and it won't be like permanent. So what I did to get that, I just kind of like right clicked on that layer, convert to smart object, and bam, there it is. Now I could go up here in my filters and I can go to my Gaussian blur. And that Gaussian blur is too high. But if I have it set like this, like maybe like around a 4.5 or just where it looks right. Hit OK. And when you go to transform it, it always takes the filter off, but that's all right. Let me see, add some more blur to that. Too much blur. I'm gonna hit OK. All right, cool. All right, but we're not done with that yet. Because then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to make this, let's see here. Which one do I normally do? I could do color dodge or lighter color. Let's go lighter color. And let's see about adding an effect to that. Color overlay, yes. Let's go with like a gold. goldish yellow. So bad. And again, I'm just kind of just fooling around here because I don't really do like bling bling all like that for real. So it may just take a second for me to kind of figure that part out. I'm just gonna go back to normal here. And let's see, let's change the color. Oh, you know what? Made a mistake. Scratch all that on this. I'm gonna throw all the effects away. Then I'm going to rasterize this layer. So I'm going to hold down Command, hit new layer. It throws another layer up underneath instead of on top. And then I'm going to go to layer. I'm going to merge down. All right, good. Okay, now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pick a color. Yellow. I just did a, gosh, what did I do? I did it so fast. Hate that. All right, Command Shift Delete picks the color on the bottom over here. And then if you hit Option Shift Delete, it'll automatically just fill in the color of that layer, the object. It won't fill in the whole layer, but it will just do just that object, whatever's in there. It'll just cover that. All right, so now I'm going to go to, let's see, lighter color. Nope, not lighter color. Let's see, overlay. Yeah, we're going to go with overlay. And then we're going to shrink it down a little bit. And to where we like it, I'm going to go ahead and lock these two. Let's see, how can we do that? I'll lock them like this. Cool. So whenever I go to shrink them down or expand them, that's what we have. Okay. So we're putting all these horrible flares. Guys, don't laugh and be like, oh man, that's so bad. Man, heck yeah, I know it's bad. Shoot, I'm doing it on freaking purpose. All right, I'm just adjusting the blur on that. And I'm going to take it down just a little bit. Just a pinch. That's cool. All right, locking those layers. Let's see, let's put it right here in the back, even though there's nothing to bling off of. Let's put it right there in the back anyways, because that's what bad designers do. And then in the background, let's do something a little fun, just to show off. Let's create a little starburst, okay? So I'm taking my marquee tool and I'm creating this elliptical, whatever you want to call it, ovalish type thing. And I'm on my background layer. I'm going to click new layer. All right, and now I'm going to fill that with white. Okay. Deselect it. Then I'm going to hide Lecrae real quick. Okay. Now I'm going to center this up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make this a little more narrower. All right. Cool. And then I'm going to create another one of these. And I'm going to turn that sideways, like so. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this into a smart object. Now, the reason why I did that is because now I'm going to double click into my smart object. And there I have both of those layers. And I can take both of these layers and I can duplicate them. Let's see. A copy. Well, let's see. Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to transform and I'm going to rotate them like that. And then I'm going to duplicate them again. Actually, I'm going to duplicate all of them this time. Drag them down. Turn on my transform. And I'm just going to spin it like so. Let's create a little quick burst. Hit save. Close that out. Yes, save. All right, and there's my little fake sunburst. I'm going to turn that back on. And you're like, man, I look so bad, V. I know it looks so bad, but it's okay, trust me. You're going to make this really, really big. And you're going to name this sunburst.png. Then you're going to blur it. Gaussian blur. Gaussian blur, like that. Man, that flare on his right side looks so freaking bad, but it's okay. All right, so we pretty much have all the elements. I'm gonna just stop right here and trust and believe. I know that I am a great designer. I'm just doing this for the sake of time. All right. Now we're gonna animate this thing. All right, so you're probably thinking to yourself, ooh, wait a second. Something just crossed my mind. Let's just say, for example, that, no, you know what? I'll save that for later. Okay, so here we go. We have our basic layout, all right? And it looks freaking awesome, okay? Now here comes the fun part, the animation part, where you guys are like, oh my God, how do you do that? Okay, you go into your window, okay? You already have all your layers. Oops, you know what? Matter of fact, let me just make sure I have all these suckers turned on. I mean, as far as my naming them, let me see. I'm gonna call this one Big Yellow Blur and dot JPEG. Yeah, no, PNG. I'm gonna call this one Big White Blur. Big blur.png. We're going to call this one Small Yellow Blur.png. And we're going to call this one Small White Blur.png. All right. And I think we're going to go ahead and we'll do the same thing when it comes to these text layers. We're going to go PNG where it says dope. Same thing with Lecrae. We're going to go .png. And then we're going to do .png. And we're going to do .png. Now just to double check to make sure we have all of the layers that we need. I'm going to go here, and as you see in the live assets folder, you have it. You have the flyer then. You have the big white blur that you can't really see. You have the big yellow blur. You also have the background. You have the title where it says dope. You have Lecrae, PNG. You have Lecrae himself. You have the small. You have the small. You have the sunburst, as you can see right there. And then you have where it says super dope single, PNG. All right. So you have all of those pieces in place. Okay, now going back to the timeline, you're going to go to Window, and here at the bottom where it says Timeline. Some of you guys may have seen that before, probably clicked on it and was like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I didn't want to do that, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, it's cool. Now at the bottom it says create frame animation. You do not want to have create frame animation. You want to use frame animation like if you're doing like a GIF or something like that. But we're not worried about that. We're just doing create video timeline. So we're going to go ahead and hit that. And then boom, all of a sudden, you're populated with everything here. Everything that you freaking need to make this thing come alive. All right. Now, what you see here, you have your layers. Very important because this is kind of like an introduction to Premiere Pro and After Effects right here in Photoshop. This is the bare basics of how to do animation. I'm hoping that this helps somebody out because it really did. It helped me. Okay. You have flyer then. You have super dope. It's the same thing over here, guys. If you look over at your layers is the exact same thing. The exact same thing as over here. They even go as far as showing you like the pictures. So you're not confused at all. At all. Now I'm just going to start moving over just the important things. And as I'm going over, I'm pretty sure you're going to catch on. If you want to get more in depth with it, you can just go to YouTube and look it up. But what I'm going to do right now is that I want to create a 10-second promo. Okay. So I'm going to shrink this down so I can see my numbers here on my timeline. Right now it says 10 frames, 20 frames, 30 frames equals 1 second. I do 10, 20, 30, that's 2 seconds. I'm going to go all the way up to where it says 10 seconds. So I'm going to take my background and I'm going to drag it all the way out. And as you can see, it says right there where it says end and duration, I'm going to go all the way to where it says 10. And then I'm going to stop. Boom. So I'm there now. And I'm going to do that with every single one of these layers. Now I could have did this all at once. If I was in Illustrator, not Illustrator, but if I was in Premiere Pro. But again, this is like you're dealing with the bare basics. So you're not going to have all the bells and whistles as you would in not Photoshop, but Premiere Pro and After Effects. This is just Photoshop. Photoshop originally was just to edit photos. Now they're doing daggone videos. It's amazing. So I'm pulling all these out. Okay. Now the original, I don't need. The original down here at the bottom, I don't need this. I don't really need that at all. Doesn't mean I'm going to delete it. I'm just not going to mess with it. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to take and animate everything on the way I want it, the way I envision it. And this is your playhead. Your playhead right here, this is what allows you to be able to go forward and backwards in your animation or your design animation process. All right, so I'm thinking to myself like, all right, I want, you're like, oh my gosh, you're deleting everything. No, I'm not deleting everything. I'm just bringing it all in one at a time. So I'm gonna start off with my background. I'm like, okay, I like my background and I want dope to be there. But I don't want it just to pop on like that. I want an animated one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click right here. This is like the transitions cube. Click right here and it says fade. You have all of these different transitions that you're going to deal with. Again, I'm going to just stick with what I'm trying to get accomplished here. So you're going to click on fade and you're going to put it on top of dope. And as you can see, you have this ramp. This ramp indicates it's starting off at 0, it's going all the way up to 100. So, bam, there you have the quick 1 second. It's going up to 1 second here at the playhead. As you can see right here, it says 1 second. If I don't want it to be 1 second, I want to move quicker, I just click the ramp and I just drag the ramp down. And it tells you how long it's going to take, the duration of the ramp. And it's telling you by frames. Is it going to take 19 frames to go? I want to be half a second. So half a second, if it's 30 frames a second, half of 30 is 15. So I want to take it down to 15. And when I hit play or space bar, you see it blends, goes right in. Next, after that, I want to see Lecrae kind of pop in midway around here. And right now he's just boom, he's popping in. I don't want that. I want to just fade him in. And a lot of the animation, you'll be able to, it's going to be like, you know, fade ins. So as you can see right there, you have, it fades in, and I'm going to stop it right there. And it's like, oh, okay, I see how it's happening. All right. So now that sunburst that's in the background, I'm gonna have the sunburst come in right around the time in which, you know, he's all faded in, because I don't want to be able to see through him and see the sunburst kind of like, you know, popping up. All right, so sunburst, we want the sunburst, we want that to fade in too. All right, so I'm doing all the basic, you know, fade ins as far as like what I want to happen. Okay, and I'm also thinking for this the small burst, thinking about having the small burst kind of like fade into. Well, no, I'm not going to fade those in. I'm going to do something a little different with that, and I'm going to show you guys right now. Okay, so if I click on the small blur layer and I click on it's a little triangle right here, it's like pointing at it. I'm going to click that, and off to the side, up underneath, you see it says transform, opacity, and style. This is what I was talking about before. You have an option to mess with the opacity of that small blur, or the bling, as you want to call it, because some of you guys be thinking like, oh, I want bling. Okay, well, this is what you do. You hit the opacity, because bling, basically it flickers, like it fades in and out real fast. Okay, but we're not going to do real fast here. Just for the sake of time, we're just going to go ahead and hit opacity. I'm going to have this fade in and fade out real quick. So I'm doing the same thing for the top and the bottom of that bling. And I hit opacity on both of those. I move forward a little bit. And let's see. Let's go back. Let's go back real quick. While I'm on that opacity, I'm going to take my opacity in that layer and I'm going to hit 0. The same thing on the bottom one. I'm going to hit 0. I'm going to move forward a little bit. Right when he's completely faded in, and then without even clicking off that layer, I'm just going to hit 100. And as you can see, it's automatically creating the marquee, the transition. I'm going to do 100 right here. All right, so going back, you see he'll come in, boom, and there it is. And then if I want to, I can go forward and I can hit 0. And I can hit 0 back on opacity again, because again, this is bling, it's flickering. So keep that in mind. All right. And then I can move back up here, a couple frames forward, and I could turn it back up to 100. And it's automatically creating those frames for me. Now this is slow and painstaking. Now I'm not sure if this is going to work, but I'm going to try to copy and paste that animation. Nope, it doesn't work. Let me see. Maybe if no, it won't. Okay. All right, forget about that. All right, so as you can see right here, that's what I would have to do the whole time. I would have to kind of go in here, and for every daggone frame, I would have to go and make it like flicker by just typing it in, almost like one frame, one layer at a time. This is time consuming, but I mean, again, if you're not ready to jump into Premiere Pro and Photoshop, I mean, not Photoshop, but After Effects, then this is what it's going to take. It's going to take time, you know. So again, for the sake of time, just press play. As you can see, gets a little fake, you know, weak little flicker, bling bling going on. All right, so that's enough for the small one. I'm like, the small one, you're done. All right, now I'm gonna go up to my big, and I'm going to make that also flicker. So again, I click on opacity, click on opacity. That's at 100. I'm gonna go back. I'll make that 0. 0. All right, so as you can see, this is flickering, flickered, and boom. And you have everything else that's kind of popping in. All right, now you may be wondering, okay, I want stuff to kind of like, you know, to move around. Like I want things to kind of, to pop, you know, in and out as far as like some of the text. Okay, let's make that happen. All right, so Lecrae right here, what I'll do, I'm gonna go ahead and click on transform. Now I want him to kind of be in like about right here. So I'll go ahead, hit the transform key. I'll back up. And on a transform, it's so beautiful. All I have to do is to simply move them off screen. It's automatically, boom, that's it. That's your movement. And it's that simple. Same thing when it comes to where it says super dope. All I gotta do is when I'm just like, all right, once that pops in, I want super dope to fly into. I want that to kind of like to transform into. So I hit transform. I back up to where I want to kind of start seeing the animation begin for super dope single. I just take super dope single, and I just move it from like over here somewhere crazy. And there you see, it's like it just pops in. All right. Now the flyer then, when I was talking about the whole thing of like your styles, flyer then, I want that to animate in a certain type of way where, let's say that we want to have him, let's have flyer then like come from behind his arm. Then, you know, over here, and then come back and then it's on top of his arm. Okay. You're like, okay, how do you do that? All right. It's really, really simple. All we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Lecrae background. And don't worry about this over here, because as you're doing your cutting and stuff, it's happening over here in your layers. Like, just focus on your layers. Don't get caught up in all this as of yet. All right, so now you're going to cut out just this area of his sleeve. That's all you're going to cut out, just the area of his sleeve. So let me go ahead and let me hide flyer then. Let me zoom in. Let me see. Okay. All right, I'm just going to use this little lasso tool real quick, and I'm clicking on his sleeve. Just the sleeve area. All right, cool. Click completely out. You're going to close it. All right, now you're going to go ahead, Command C, and again, you're going to hold Shift Command V just to make sure that it's pasted in place. All right, and let's see. All right, matter of fact, let me see. Command Shift Z. Maybe let me undo that real quick. All right, because the reason why is I want to make sure that I get a nice feather on there so it won't look too crazy. All right, so let's see, selection, modify, feather. I'm going to feather that maybe like 3 pixels. All right, cool. Now I'm going to copy, Shift Command V, and I'm going to take this layer right here. I'm going to call it sleeve.png. I'm going to take that sleeve and I'm going to put that right on top of where it says flyer then. All right, and as you can see right there, it's covering up his flyer then title. All right, now how do you make that fly up underneath and then fly back on top? All right, it's simple. All you're going to do is you're going to have the sleeve out here that's going to protrude a little bit, like a few frames before flyer then. Flyer then, we're going to take it and we're going to hit transform. And then we're going to move it off screen so you can't see it. We're gonna move forward a little bit. You see the animation of Lecrae, super dope single. Flyer then is then gonna pop in. We're going to have it. Let's see. Let's go. Let's take this frame and move it up. Move up a few more frames. We're going to take flyer then. It's going to be right here, like that. And as soon as it goes past the sleeve right here, you're going to take the sleeve and you're going to move it. You're just going to cut it short. And then when you cut it short, you're going to move a few more frames forward and you're going to take your flyer then and you're going to move it back in front and center. So it's going to look a little something like this. Bang, boom. And voila, something like that. Okay, so you now you can go into your flyer then. Let's say, for example, if you wanted to have that flyer then to not have that stroke on it until like later, you can make that happen. All you have to do is just go into your style. And let's see. I'm gonna move that because I just got finished clicking the little stopwatch. The little stopwatch, when you click that, it puts in a keyframe. All right, so I'm gonna go back here, go back some, and then I'm going to go into my style or my effect. Double click on stroke. I'm going to take the opacity of the stroke down to 0. Now, when it does that, it's just on that frame. And as you move forward, you see it fades in. So it's kind of like, again, you have so much that you can work with in Photoshop. And this is kind of like what will separate you from a lot of other designers out there. Because you have people who can design a flyer, but if you can start thinking to yourself when you're designing a flyer or designing a magazine ad or really almost any type of thing, it's like, you know what? I can animate this. I can make this do something pretty nice. I will charge a little bit more. And for the time that you're putting in, like that I'm putting in for something like this, I mean, you can easily put and tack on like an extra $100, and that's cheap. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like that's on the low end, you know, because you really got to keep in mind like your worth, your value. So, anyways, that's a whole nother topic. So now you have your flyer then action happening. Now for the music portion, let's see. Let's get some music for this. I don't know if I have any audio on here, but what I will do is I will go ahead and bring some audio in. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Let's see my Dropbox. You go to my laptop here and get a Lecrae song. Let's see. AirDrop. Search for Older Mac. Boom, there I am. And let's go do a search for Lecrae. All right, 5 items. Let's go with church clothes. And Okay, we're gonna go with unturned. All right, that's cool. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring that in. Unturned. Yes. I'm just gonna save it. Boom, it's in my downloads, just like that. How dope is that? All right. And so now I'm going to import. I'm going to go down to my timeline again. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I'm just moving sometimes. And it says at the very bottom, it says audio track. All right. You're going to hit the audio symbol right there. Hit add audio. I'm going to go to my downloads where I just downloaded Unturned. Boom, and I brought that in, but I don't want it to be that long. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the very end of it, and I'm going to pull it all the way down to the 10 seconds. All right, and then I hit play. All right, so as you can see, Flyer Than, that is not like the name of that track. So this brings up another good point. I can actually go back and I can say, you know what? Flyer Than was not the name of that song that I wanted to do. That's not the name of it. So I can go back and I can click and I can change the title of that song. It's called Unturned. All right, and that is it. And I could even go as far as being like, you know what? I need to make this a little bit bigger. All right. Now, as you can see, it the size changed, and it's because, again, you're dealing with style. So like the style portion, it starts to grow right here, and it gets bigger. All right, so that's pretty dope. Okay, let's see, and let me see the fade in and fade out. Again, I want to click fade, and I'm gonna throw that on the end of. Got that on the end of my audio, or I gotta automatically have it to where I think you automatically have to have it set where it fades out. No, let me see. Fade in and fade out. Okay. Here we go. I set that fade for about 2 seconds. And the fade in, I don't have to worry about. And you get that by just simply clicking on the little end arrow button here. And you have also like motions here. The same thing when it comes to your layers, in which I'm not getting into all that. Again, like this is really strictly just to kind of give you guys the bare basics as to how this thing works. All right, so again, press play. All right, so that's that. Okay, so now it's time to export the joint. And again, when you go back to your layer assets, it's like it's all still intact. You don't have to worry about anything messing up. You still have all of your pieces in place. Voila. All right. Now to export it, what you're going to do, you're going to hit your render video right here at the very, very bottom. Now you have where you can convert to the frame animation, and you can do that if you want to like create like a GIF. It won't have any audio, but it will, you know, go ahead and render out the animations that you did for like the motions and all that other type of good stuff. So you're going to hit render out. and the name of it, and select the folder. It's already right there. Concrete Tile Studios, random art, DVA, tutorials, flyers, your media, how you want to have it set. I usually have mine set to H.264, and that gives me more options as far as how I want to have this set as a preset. Like I can have this saved for Vimeo, I can have it saved for YouTube, all of these different ratios as far as like the screen frames, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it the way that I had it set, which is the document size for this. If I hit any of these other ones, it's going to automatically shrink it down to fit inside of a 720 by 1280 or 1280 by 1920. Okay, so I don't want to do all that. So I just go in and I hit start or render. And it's exporting my video. Yep, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll post this up on in the DVA. Yeah. All right. So I'm sure it's there. It is there. And as you can see, I click. Oh crap, oh crap. Oh, oh, oh. Oh my God, I got a motion flyer. Yep, and it's pretty whack. Such a whack design. All right, and now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna post this up in a DV freaking 11A. That's to see all my goodies behind the scenes. All right. So I'm gonna say, hey, just created whack live flyer in Photoshop. Then I'm going to add the video. Oh my gosh, this is so freaking bad. Live flyer. There it is. Open and say, come watch me do it better in Premiere Pro. All right, so while that's doing that, you guys will see that pop up in just a moment. Now, see, nope, close. All right. Now I'm going to go over here back into Photoshop and hit save. Make sure everything is saved. Can't emphasize that enough. And I double clicked on the timeline, the word timeline there, just to close that down so you guys aren't freaking out like, where'd it go? Where did everything go? Or if you're like in this mode and you're like, oh my gosh, like I can't see where I'm supposed to be. Just simply go into your timeline and then just move your place header to like the frame in which you can see everything. Double click it, and there you have it. So it's still all there. You don't have to worry about, you know, everything going wrong. Okay, anyways, let's go into Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro CC. Now this will allow you to be able to do a little bit more. A little bit more. And speaking of which, before I do that, let me just try something out real quick, because with that sunburst in the back, I may be able to do with the styles here. I think I can. I don't know how much of a rotation I can get on that, but I'm gonna find out here in just a moment. All right, so I hit style. All right, and it's popping in, but I want to see if I can make it rotate. And I'm pretty sure I can. All right, I go to the last frame and I hit that. And I'm going to turn this all the way around. Let's see if that works. No, it doesn't. But let me see. Let me try something else again. Maybe I rotated it too much. What if I rotate it like that much? Nope, it doesn't rotate. And that's cool. Because you know what? We're going to make that sucker rotate in Premiere Pro. All right. So back over here to Premiere Pro, I'm going to hit New Project. And I'm going to browse. And I'm going to put that in my live flyer. Now that was for Photoshop. I'm going to click a new folder, Premiere Pro. All right, and I'm gonna hit choose. It's gonna put everything in there, everything that I need. Over here, this part, don't worry about it. You can go ahead and make this title, call it live flyer. Okay, and it's building it all. Building. And then the next thing that I had to that I got to pull in is my Lecrae. So I just click them and I pull them on. That's it. That's it, guys. I pull them on, stretch it out, and I have to reposition him because when I pull it in, it's going to bring it all in as these individual like layers centered. Okay, so I'm gonna have to reposition a few things, but it's okay. And to do that, I go into my effects control and I click on motion, and it highlights them, and I'm able to go ahead and position them the way that I need to. Or even better, for those who are into XY coordinates, your position. You have your X right here. You have your Y right here. I'm just going to move him down just a little bit. And I'm sure there may be an easy way. I'm not going to sit and profess that I'm like a guru at doing all this type of stuff. But hey, we're all learning here. All right, good. Okay. And then, oh, you know what? I forgot to put the sunburst in there. So what I'm going to do, which is good, I'm going to click on the Lecrae and I'm going to move him up a layer. I'm going to take the sunburst and I'm going to move that in. Okay. Now the sunburst, I don't have to worry about positioning really because it's centered the way that I want it anyways. All right. And let me see, same thing when it comes to dope. Dope dog. All right. Now I'm going to take all of that and I'm going to move that up. All right, cool. Okay. And then I'm going to go and let's see, what else do I have to pull in here? Doesn't really matter. I guess I can do the unturned. Which says flyer then. Again, it's all about like naming your layers. Just staying organized. All right. And I'm moving that down, positioning it to where it needs to be. And then super dope single. Drag that out. Now see, I don't know why it would do that. I don't know if you guys are seeing this or not, but for whatever reason, it's putting this black box around it. I'm not going to try to wrestle with it right now. I would if it was like a paying project, but it's not. And then Lecrae. And I'll click on that, click on position, and I'll just move him wherever it is I want him to be. All right, cool. Okay. And then we have to add his sleeve. All right. And that's just going to be within a corner. Whoops. Move it over, nudge, nudge. All right, like so. That's good enough. And now for the horde blings. Now, what I'm already seeing here is like a problem. The problem is that when you put something as far as in a what do you call it? Smart object, it's automatically going to save it as it being like the circle, the smart object with inside of it. Okay, now there's ways around it. I'm not going to go into all that stuff, not right now because it's not that important. But what I can still do, I can still blur things here. All right, so all hope is not gone. All right, so now I'll take this small blur. Hold on, let's see, undo that. Let's go with this one. This white blur. The big white blur. Yeah. take that and position that. Because what I'll wind up doing for the sake of confusion when dealing with some of these PNG files, because again, like when you're dealing with some of the PNG files, it may act a little funky, but that's okay. Just like I said, there's always workarounds. I'm just going to work straight through it. All right, so we have this this big white blur. I'm going to use that multiple times. Let's see here. Where is my small blur? Yeah, that one's not working. That's fine. Okay. Super dope single. And I'm just kind of like nitpicking right now because I'm almost kind of anal about that. All right, anyways, so I'm going to now start to kind of animate a little bit of this stuff. But first, let me get this blur together. So I'm going to duplicate this blur by holding down Option and I drag up. All right, and then I'm going to go to my effects, control panel. In the top blur, I'm going to go to my opacity. And underneath opacity, it has the exact same things in Photoshop as you have in what do you call it? After Effects and here in Premiere. It's like I said, it's all pretty much the same. So I'll go to, let's see, what did I do before? Was it soft light? Not sure if it was soft light or not, but I can always go back. And it was overlay that I used. Okay, so I can just go to overlay. And then I can change the scale of it down a little bit. And then we go to color. See, color, fast color, or we're going to go with color correction. Let's go with tint. I'm going to drag that over on top of my control. So let's see, it says map all my whites. We're going to make those yellow. I'm going to make those yellow. Let's see. Hopefully that worked. If that didn't work, then I'm about to go another option. Slightly not the outcome that I'm looking for. So what I'll do is I'll just go back to my Photoshop. It's already had these set the way that I want them. Is I can go straight in here and Option, new layer, and then I hit Command E to rasterize it. And I go back here, small, white, blur.png. And I can do the same thing with this one too while I'm at it, while I'm here. So you copy that. Okay. There you go. All right. And let's see here. Still having a problem with that small yellow blur. I'm gonna figure it out here in just a second, guys. Just bear with me. Small yellow blur. Dot JPEG into small yellow blur.png. Let's see if that'll do anything for it. Import. Let's see, that's the big one. And that's the small one. Let's see. That's strange. Well, I'm not going to waste time over it. That's fine. All right, cool. All right, well, let's just go ahead for the sake of time, because again, I don't want to waste too much time. We're going to take this big white blur. I'm going to move it down here to that cross. And I'm going to change it from overlay, and I'm going to just make it normal. All right, and then let's go ahead and just start animating this thing. Okay, so again, we're dealing with these basic layers. Let me move this up some. Okay, that's cool. All right. So we're dealing with the basic layers in which we did the same thing in Photoshop. All right, so we're going to move some of these layers up, and you could do them actually more than just one at a time. All right, went ahead and I pulled all those up. We're going to move about maybe, and I'm just grabbing the bottom here just to make that, slide, make it bigger so I can have a bigger frame to work with, the work area. All right, so let's have him come in. Let's have Dope come in right around there. Now, what you can do to make that to make that happen is you go over here to your transitions, your video transitions, and then you're gonna go to let's see, where are their transitions? Because I have like third-party plugins. I'm going to avoid those, and I'm gonna go to dissolve. You're going to use cross dissolve. Cross dissolve. Put that right in front, and there it fades in, just like that. Really, really simple. Okay, and then you're going to have Lecrae. He's going to come in right about here. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move the rest of these down. So I'm just focusing on him, on Lecrae at the moment. The Lecrae background. All right, so instead of him popping on like this, I'm going to have him fade and slide up. So I'm going to put a cross dissolve on him. So he's fading in. And I want to make sure that his bottom is like at the base. And make sure that's right. All right, good. Okay. Which I have to adjust his sleeve, but that's cool. All right, so I'm gonna have him start about right here at the beginning. And we're gonna go to position. I'm gonna hit keyframe or the time watch or toggle animation. And then I'm going to move up to about right here, and I'm going to hit add keyframe right there. Okay, so now back here at the very beginning, I'm going to have him completely off the stage. So he's just going to come in like this. Boop, just like that. Nothing too fancy. And then right around here when he pops in, I'm going to have that sunburst come in. But the sunburst, I'm going to have that joint rotating. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a cross fade. Put it right there. And again, if I don't like the length of it, I just click the cross fade to make it faster. I just shrink it down like that. And you see he just comes in, boom, boom. Now I'm going to animate and make this thing rotate. So I go to motion because that's what I'm dealing with. And here you have rotation. So before, I don't want it to come in, then start rotating. I want it to come in rotating. So I'm going to hit stopwatch, keyframe, and I'm going to go all the way to the end of the video. And then I'm going to hit rotation. I'm going to make it rotate. Let's see, 360. How about I make it rotate 3 times? Let me see, 360. I want to make it rotate 6 times. All right. Now, as you can see, now it's rotating like crazy in the background, almost too much. But that's the far extreme of that happening. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the very end. Let's say I don't like that. I'm gonna go back to the end. Instead of it rotating 6 times, let's have it rotate 1 time. Just that simple. All right. So now, the next thing that I want to have happen is I want his bling to come on. All right, now with his bling, right there, we're going to use an effect that's called stroke. Not stroke, but strobe. So we're going to go over here to your effects. Strobe light. Now strobe light, of course, is like what makes things flicker. Right? Like a strobe light. So you're going to go here And you're going to go to your only two settings that you need to worry about. You need to worry about well, actually three. The first thing you're going to say is that you want your strobe, you want it to change colors, or do you want to make the layer transparent? Again, flickering, on and off, transparent. All right, so automatically you see the small one, it went away. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make it to where it's not just doing a blink, 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 blink. No, you want this thing to flicker. Let's see. All right, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so to make it flicker faster, you're going to shorten this down. So this number right here, whatever number you put right here, you're going to put the half of that number right there. So I'm going to make this 0.5. And half of 0.5 is 0.25. And it's flickering faster. I'm like, okay, I really want the flicker out of control. Go to 0.25. And half of 0.25 is 0.125. We're going to round it up to 1.3. And there you have it. You have like this whole flickering thing going on. And of course, you can always go a little lower. You can make it go faster. Just go half that again. 0.13. Half of that, we'll just go 0.07. All right. And there you have this whole flickering thing going on. All right, so you're going to take that layer and you can hit strobe light, copy it, click on your next one that you want to have flicker, and just hit paste. And that's how you simply kind of like you're getting your animation. Sorry about that, guys. That's how you're getting your animation basics as far as like the flickering, the blinging, and all that type of stuff inside of Premiere Pro. Now I'm going to fix this arm real quick, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to animate this I'm turned. Okay, so taking the sleeve, that's cool. All right, so again, it's the same thing when it comes to the I'm turned. That says fire then, actually. You're going to shorten the sleeve. And instead of it jumping in like that, we're going to go to video transitions. Pull that out. All right, cool. All right, so then we're going to go right about here. Hold on 1 second. Let me get my screen share turned back on here. Entire screen. Share. Of course, I can always edit that out. All right, cool. Okay, sorry about that, guys. It's just that I have my phone hooked up to my Google, and I'm getting like blown up. Got like a client coming up, so whatever. So again, yes. Now I'm going to have this unturned pop in. So I'm going to take that at the very beginning. But actually, I'm going to go in a little bit as to where I want it to end. And then I'm going to hit the stopwatch on a position. Back up some. And then I'm going to just move it out of the way, and it automatically creates a keyframe. So here we are again. It's doing exactly what we had before, but this time we want it to go further out. So by the time it gets right here, and that's when we're going to hit the cross dissolve on the sleeve. All right, and then move a little further. Then we're going to bring it back. All right, so this is what it's going to do. Turn. Actually, you know what? Let me see, because it's not done there yet. We're going to bring that out some more. Okay, there we go. All right, cool. All right, so now the only thing we have to animate left is the Lecrae, and it says super dope single up underneath. We want that to fade in or swoop in. Same thing over here. So we're going to click on motion. Hit the keyframe. See, hit the keyframe. Move it off the screen. That way when you play, it'll come in. Same thing when it comes to super dope. Super dope, we'll have that. Come in right about right there too. And we're going to hit keyframe position. And then we're just going to simply hit motion, move it off to the side. And as you can see, it has a little line there that indicates the position in which it's going to move, the path. And that's pretty much it. I mean, like it really is simple. We could take more time to make this thing look really nice, in which, for the sake of the video, not going to do that right now. And of course, we got to import the audio. Going to downloads, go to unturned. And I can just go ahead, select this, hit Command K to cut that, select the end part, delete it. I could pull it in. I could do the same thing when it comes to the audio effects or transitions, I'm sorry. Hit the crossfade. I just hit constant power. And I have. It's going to be super loud, so turn it down just some. And that's pretty much it. Like, it's that simple, but yet if you want to, you can make it really complex. Now, what I'll do later on in another video, I'll go into more detail on how to do a, I guess you could say like a 3D version of this, in which like you have some camera motion, and it's not just flat. And in my opinion, I think that's where the next level of live flyers is going to head. I've done it already. I've done it back in like, gosh, some time ago, but I haven't done like enough of them. It's because I just never had time to really sit down and to do it with purpose and with, with reason. Because like once you kind of know how to do it, it's like, well, I know how to do it. I can take it to the next level, but I'm just busy learning other programs and stuff. But anyways, I thank you guys for sitting here and watching. I hope you guys learned something out of it. It was fun. And till next time, guys, happy designing. And I'll see you guys later.